间公主 HFP 3
Wang Yibo, the suspenseful beauty of the Wind Rises Luoyang. The secret behind everything is unpredictable. The suspenseful beauty of Wind from Luoyang. The detective mystery of this play is likely to be the wrestling between Buddhism and metaphysics, the five elements of celestial phenomena. It should be very worth seeing, and extremely brain-burning. Luoyang Vanta, no Buddha Pagoda. What appeared in the play, Buddha Pagoda, 12 secret agents at the same time pun, lotus lamp, Buddha head, karma, Tantric Five Incense Or. The talented little Baili is always refreshing. The prince consciously or unconsciously let it touch the Buddhist characters. What are you doing? And the greatest worshipper of the gods of Wu Zhou, the saint Wu Zhao. Everything is related to the Buddha, and everything has nothing to do with it. But it's unpredictable, it's all an illusion. Wu Zetian is really not just talking about Buddhism. There are Buddhist temples in many lifangs in Luoyang, the god city, and there are Buddhist pagodas when there are Buddhist temples. Although Luoyang Wanta is exaggerated, but it is true that there are many Buddhist temples and pagodas in Luoyang. So why not see the Buddha Pagoda? Speaking of pagodas, the Buddha in Buddhism actually means pagoda. But in Luoyang during the Wu Zhou period, the only thing that could be called the Buddha Pagoda was heaven in the Palace of Ziwei City. Heaven is also called Tongtian Buddha. According to the old Tang Book, Wu Zetian built a paradise behind the Vientiane Shrine, Mingtang, used to enshrine Buddha statues. The heaven is more than 100 feet high. Think about the concept of a building that can be more than 100 feet tall more than 1,000 years ago. Baili Hongyi's father, he was the Shangshu of Dongbu at that time. It is in charge of a series of things such as business development. So, Dad Baili is also responsible for overseeing the construction of the Buddha Tower in heaven. Baili Zhou father died unclearly, and only then was Baili Hongyi involved in the case to find out the cause of his father's death. It is still recorded in the old Tang Book that in the process of building heaven, after being knocked down by the strong wind, and then rebuilding heaven, it took several years. Tens of thousands of civilian services are used every day, and countless amounts of money are spent. Heaven was finally built, and it is said that almost all the treasury of the entire official mansion of God capital was spent. It is reasonable to speculate that throughout the process of building heaven, did Baili Dad corrupt or accept bribes? Have you been planted and framed for others, such as Shui Hai, who favored Emperor Wu? Or did Baili Dad accidentally learn the secret of not seeing the Buddha Pagoda? Where will the fire of God go? Heaven. Finally, it was burned on the night of the Lantern Festival in the first year of Wu Zetian's Xing. At the same time, Mingtang was burned together, and there was no curfew on the Lantern Festival in Luoyang, the god capital. People in the whole city can go to the streets with lanterns and festoons for night tours. Perhaps the mystery that Baili Hongyi wants to solve is that heaven will be burned under a conspiracy. So this line like a prophecy says Luoyang Vantaa, no Buddha Pagoda. Why don't you see the Buddha Pagoda? Because it was burned down. Where will the fire of God go? Although Wu Zetian worshipped Buddhism, in fact the entire early Tang and Wu Zhou periods were inseparable from metaphysics. You probably have heard of the most famous Yuan Tiangong and Li Chunfeng, right? These two are mentioned because they are both metaphysicians and astronomers. The children of the Shangshu family in the winter, such as the smart and studious Baili Xiaolong, he must also dabble in astronomy, geography, mathematics, physics and chemistry, etc. Maybe I have read Li Chunfeng's works. Li Chunfeng is not only an astronomer, but also proficient in yin and yang and five elements. He is even the first person to rate Feng in China. Li Chunfeng can predict the level of wind and has written related works. As Dongbu Shangshu, Bailida should also understand the corresponding knowledge. How could heaven be shaken by the wind when it was first built? It should be predicted and protected. It seems to smell a trace of conspiracy. Lian Fangxing Luo, it's hard to find 12 people. Lian Fangxing Luo. This sentence actually points at the layout of the god city Luoyang City. The layout of the Lifang in Luoyang is like a chessboard. The city more than 1,000 years ago was also very planned. And the planning is very strict, and random construction is strictly prohibited. It must be planned according to the squares. During the Wu Zhou period, Luoyang had three large commercial districts. They are North City in Luobei, South City and West City in Luonan. The West Market is relatively remote in the southwest corner of Luoyang City, but because it's close to Tongji Canal and Tongjian Canal, trade activities are also very prosperous, not to mention Nanshi. Nanshi is equivalent to the size of 2 lifangs and an area of 8 li squares. It accommodates more than 3,000 shops, more than 120 businesses. The heavy building is connected to the high pavilion, and you can't finish shopping for a day. In that era, exotic treasures, spice fur, brocade food, only you can't think of. There is nothing you can't buy. Saying so much just want everyone to feel it. The urban layout of Luoyang City, the God City, is really dotted, and it's very big and super big. It's hard to find 12 people, why not 5 people, not 10 people, but 12 people. The atmosphere of this play is full of Yixu and the 5 elements of yin and yang. The 12 earthly branches are closely related to the celestial phenomena and the 5 elements. Therefore, these 12 people may be the key point that led to the mystery of Shindu. Either it is a clue to solve the case. 12 Buddha Towers. What does it have to do with the 12 people who are hard to find? It seems that the answer can only be found after the show is broadcast. In the play, Baili Hongyi and many other people are around a big disc together. I look at the big disc, which contains the heavenly stems and earthly branches, the 5 elements art and the luoshu and the etu luoshu. It's a complicated 5-element arithmetic compass. Baili Hongyi should be able to calculate these things. Rub his hands, can't wait to see it. Looking forward to the broadcast of Wind from Luoyang, so that these mysteries can be solved.
Just